A language is a structured system of communication. Language, in a broader sense, is the method of communication that involves the use of, particularly human, languages. We could ask this same question of the entire globe. People don't speak one universal language, or even a handful. Instead, today our species collectively speaks over 7,000 distinct languages. And these languages are not spread randomly across the planet. For example, far more languages are found in tropical regions than in the temperate zones. The tropical island of New Guinea is home to over 900 languages. Russia, 20 times larger, has 105 indigenous languages. Even within the tropics, language diversity varies widely. For example, the 250,000 people who live on Vanuatu's 80 islands speak 110 different languages, but in Bangladesh, a population 600 times greater speaks only 41 languages. Why is it that humans speak so many languages? And why are they so unevenly spread across the planet? As it turns out, we have few clear answers to these fundamental questions about how humanity communicates. Most people can easily brainstorm possible answers to these intriguing questions. They hypothesize that language diversity must be about history, cultural differences, mountains, or oceans dividing populations, or old squabbles writ large. We hated them, so we don't talk to them. According to a biblical account found in the book of Genesis, people once spoke the same language. Then, because those people banded together to build a tower in Babylon that glorified their own achievements, rather than those of their deity, God punished them. He ensured that mankind spoke different languages so that they'd never be able to work together to dishonor God again. Was there once just a single language that all people could understand? Linguists don't know. There's just not enough information about the origins of language, and there are only theories about how our early ancestors formed their first words and sentences. Did early people imitate sounds they heard in the environment? Did they babble until certain sounds took on meaning? We'll probably never know, though linguists still study babies' brains to determine if language or grammar comes hardwired in our heads. One prominent theory about the development of the first languages relates to tools and resources. Teaching another person how to use tools requires a certain, agreed-upon vocabulary, as does the process of sharing and protecting resources like food and shelter. Small groups of people living in close quarters would therefore need to develop a way to understand each other, so they came up with a vocabulary and syntax that meant something to them. A group of people across the world from them, though, would probably need an entirely different vocabulary of words, so the languages would have developed differently in isolation. Think of the oft-quoted, but erroneous, example that Eskimos have 100 different words for snow because they have so much of it. While that common statement is wrong, there are cultures that have far more words for rice and camels than, say, English does. So to recap. The first part of this is that language naturally changes slowly over time. Words become more or less common. New words are coined. Pronunciation slowly changes. Grammatical patterns slowly change. There are a lot of patterns, but a lot of the way languages change are just caused randomly. It happens fast enough to notice, within our own lifetimes. I'm sure you don't speak the same way as your grandparents spoke. The second part of this is that humans live over a very wide area. Until the modern era, where it is now possible to communicate with people virtually everywhere, people only really had contact with the people from their area. In different areas, language gradually changed, and in different ways, meaning that, after a lot of time has passed, the way the language has changed in two different areas may be enough that it becomes hard or impossible to understand each other. Thank you for watching. If you like the video, share and subscribe.